this podcast.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Cast with Nia. I'm super excited to have you back on the episode for today. Today's episode, we'll be talking about time and stress management. Time management. Are you one that can properly accord and account for your 24 hours in a day? Or you keep wondering, wow, do I have the same 24 hours with every other person in this world? Or are you one that can properly account for it and okay, I properly spent my day and you can give account for it? Or stress management. Are you one that waits for deadline before you start working, which can lead to stress? In that situation, how do you manage stress? Or how do you totally get to avoid it by not working on that deadline? And even if you get to work on that deadline, how do you get to manage stress? We'll find out more in today's episode. Today's episode, I have a guest, and I'll be reading his bio shortly. He is Emmanuel Jago. Emmanuel Jago is a certified neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, an Ericksonian hypnotherapist, and the lead consultant of Porter's Consulting, a firm basically focused on helping individuals and business owners understand their respective market needs and market behavior, using neurological repatterning tools and helping them drive traffic to increase their sales. He has helped over 100 business owners create and launch and scale their business models for profitability. Jago in the last 5 years has consistently influenced thousands on different platforms with his edge on thoughts and strategies with many results bettered. In 2018, he was nominated by the British Council Nigeria for the African 25 Under 25 Awards. Emmanuel Jago has worked with several reputable brands within and outside Nigeria, amongst which is Fast Track Consulting, Rekindle Consulting, Quantum Business School, Luca Publishers Mexico, Jain Engineering China, and the Rashkov Company Russia. Currently, he sits as the Chief Operating Officer of TechBridge City, a tech organization solely focused on building techies and tech products that compete at a global scale. Please, with joy, let's welcome Emmanuel Jago on my episode for today. For quality assurance purposes and audio fidelity, note that this was recorded via Zoom. Stay connected. We'll be right back after the break. Are you looking for an organization, society, and club that teaches public speaking in its full capacity, as well as leadership skills? One where you can combat fear, build confidence, sharpen leadership abilities, improve improvisation, improve communication, and expand your network. Toastmasters International is here for you. Toastmasters International is a US headquartered non-profit educational organization that operates clubs worldwide for the purpose of promoting communication, public speaking, and leadership. In the same vein, Oyo City Speakers Club is here for you as a local club to support you. We are located in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. For more information, please call 0818-096-9629 and follow up on our Instagram account for details as well at Oyo City Toastmasters. Oyo City Toastmasters, unleashing eloquence. So welcome, thank you so much, Emmanuel Jago, for gracing this podcast. I'm super excited to have you on the show, and I hope this conversation is going to be worth the while and worth everything. So,
of course,
today we're discussing time management and stress management. And of course, you know that this is a major challenge with so many people out there, especially the youth and the young adults, and which is what my target audience, the young adults and the youth. So this is a major challenge for us. You hear some people say, I wonder if it's the same 24 hours I have that you have. Do you understand? Because just getting into every day, and then the way time seems to just move very fast, and you're wondering, what is happening? I didn't really achieve anything today. Are you sure it's the same 24 hours? My own time was not set in a particular kind of way. What's really happening? And you just notice that days go by, weeks, years, and you don't get to achieve anything meaningful because you were mismanaging your time. And then it also comes with stress and because if you don't manage your time, it can also lead to stress. So we're going to speak about both of them because they are relative. to each other.
Yeah, true.
So firstly, let's just have a very common ground so our listeners out there, so when this episode is out, they'll be able to understand the basics. So if you're to define time management and stress management, how would you define it in your own words?
Okay, well, for me, really, first off, thank you for the opportunity. So for me, really,
You're welcome.
I really do not think time is a factor that is really quantifiable. So it's definitely, and anything that cannot necessarily be quantifiable, in the sense that we can't put them into a level of quantity, we can't put them into a particular space, then it's definitely difficult for us to manage them. So the idea of time management to me has always been a myth, really, for me, in the sense that it doesn't really exist. You can't manage time. Time is continuous. Time is continuous in space. So you can't really manage it. But then you can only manage what you can control. And you can control your activities. You can control your activities. You can control how you react to situations. Situations are going to come. The earth is going to move. It's going to rotate. It's going to revolve. The seas are going to move. All of these things are things that you can't manage. You can't manage them. You can't manage them because you can't measure them to an extent, really. But then you can actually measure your activities. You can measure your activities in relative to time. So what you can do is to manage yourself in relation to time. But then you can't manage time in itself, really, for me. And then what people call stress management is basically always around working continuously without taking time to oil the nerves or the muscles or the parts of the body that are actually helping you do the most work. So you're working continuously and then you're not taking the time to relax and to oil those parts of you that are helping you get the best work. Yeah, that are helping you get the best work. So I had a friend I was speaking to a few days ago, and then she told me she slumped the previous day. They had to take her to the hospital. And I asked her, I said, I hope you're resting because now you've had to meet with the doctor by force. So I hope you're resting now. And then she was like, no, I'm at work. And I said, do you know what happens when engines keep knocking and you keep having to jack them up and they keep knocking and you keep having to jack them up? I said, you know that one day those engines are not going to come up again. And she was like, that was like it for her. That was like the it for her because, it's the same thing. It's the same way it works. Every day you keep collapsing. One day you are going to collapse and you will never get up again.
True.
So people need to be able to understand that we are like machines. And when you give, if you expect your body machines to give to you at the highest capacity, then you must learn to give to that body what it needs to give you what you need at highest capacity.
Wow, well detailed and very explained. Thank you so much for answering that question. You have said that time is continuous and then you cannot manage time. I'm still trying to, really understand, but I think with time I'll get to understand that particular phrase. So you said we cannot manage time, but the only thing we can do to help our 24 hours speak for us and be very, very productive for us is that is us being able to manage our activities in relationship to time. So not like you can actually manage time because it's something that, like you said, is continuous. You cannot just want to go through your work clock and then start turning the minutes and seconds and say, please go back.
Yeah.
Go back to 6 o'clock as I've not achieved something or what I wrote down to achieve by 6 o'clock. So please go back. So it's something that moves continuously, like you said. And there's this popular phrase, time waits for no man.
True.
If you
True.
like, get up and do what you're supposed to do. The time will just keep on ticking, and before the whole day is over. And then I also love the fact that you spoke about stress money. Okay, you spoke about stress in relative to the maintenance of a car engine, and how if you don't manage it properly, it definitely will knock or will break down.
Of course.
So every human being, you now have to relate human beings to the engine of a vehicle. So we need constant maintenance, constant oiling. If not, they won't be able to work effectively and efficiently. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for answering that question. So, speaking of time management, can you spill some importance and why it's necessary to manage your time? So now you said you cannot manage time, but why is it necessary to manage your activities in relationship? Because I don't have to rephrase my statement.
Yes.
So, what do you think is important or necessary to manage your activities in relationship to time?
Okay, so like I said, time is continuum. When you're sleeping, time is moving. When you're working, time is moving. When you're eating, time is moving. When you're at the party, time is moving. It's continuous. It doesn't really have any subject. Basically, it's not subjected to anything, really. We are the ones who actually now try to quantify it. We now create dates, we create years, we create all of those things just to try to measure time. But time in itself has always been an independent factor in itself. It doesn't really need anything. It just goes on its own in space. So now, what you can do now is to manage what you do so that you can get the most out of life. In the sense that you find out that several times people tell you, hey, we both have the same time, but why is it that this guy is getting so and so, and this guy is not
exactly.
So it's what they do. It's what they do. It's not necessarily about the time that they have. It's about the fact that, hey, we have both time, but then what did you do with the time? What did you do in relation to that time that you had? So now, how do you manage your activity? First, you need to prioritize what is really important to you and what is important to what you want to do. So for a couple of times, we had a light glitch. I'm at the office, like I said. So for a couple of times, the idea is that a couple of times, you need to, what people try to do is they do not necessarily understand. Okay, let me use this example. There are times whereby I'm about to leave certain places or leave certain people, and not necessarily because these people are not dear to me or these people are not keen to me, but I just realized that these people are not related, or that environment is not going to help me achieve what I need to achieve part time. So I have to leave. So I usually tell people that, hey, the main thing that you need to be loyal to is your purpose and the demands of your purpose, not to people, not to places. So your purpose should define where you should be, who you should be with, and what you should be doing. If you allow your loyalty to people and to places to determine what you should be doing part time, then you are wasting life. You're wasting your life, basically. Irrespective of how many times you have with you. You understand? There are times I've had to leave certain places. Like right now, you're somewhere away from your family and all of that. You could as well say, hey, I love my family. I want to be wherever I used to be. I want to be with them. I want to be in this particular place. But you know what you're looking for. And you prioritize that thing that you're looking for. You prioritize it over every other thing. So you have to prioritize, you have to define what you really, really want. I understand, I get it. Your parents want this, your brothers want this, your friends are doing this. People tell me about how they want to get out of Nigeria and how they want to do this, how they want to do that. And then they're asking me, when are you going to leave the country and all of that? And I'm telling them, I say, hey, the dollars that you guys are trying to go earn in these countries, I've been earning these dollars since 2019 here in Nigeria. So what you're really going there to look for, I have been experiencing it for a while here. So forget about what you really want and what you're trying to do, what your friends are trying to do. What do you really want? What do you really want? What do you really want? And how does that relate to what you want to achieve in life? And then focus on it. That's like one of the key things. That would decide where you should go, what you should be doing, who you should be spending time with, and all of that. So I could as well go home. I could as well go home and sleep off and tell you I'm tired, I've been with my friends for a while and all that. But then this is in line with what I want to do, share my knowledge, help people get to a better life. So I'm sacrificing food, I'm sacrificing a couple of things just to be in this place so that we can have this conversation. So it's the priority and the importance of what I'm doing that is determining my actions. And by that action, people say, okay, I'm spending my time well. But really, it's not about the time, it's about what I'm trying to achieve.
So basically, time management is linked to your purpose. So
of course, what you're trying to achieve.
Manage time properly. That's because you actually know what your purpose here on earth is. So maybe most people that are having time management issues, maybe they don't really know what their purpose is here on earth. Is that what you're trying to say? Or
Okay, now when it comes to purpose is another thing. So sometimes even the idea of knowing your purpose on earth can actually cause people to delay on actions. If you go into a place right now and then you see that the place is litter and then you sweep. Is it your purpose to sweep?
no.
So the idea is that rather than trying to me, I often tell people, rather than trying to delay actions and then owing it to the fact that I'm searching for my purpose in life. Live purposefully. Do what you have to do right now. Do you understand? Do what you have to do right now. I don't know. Years before now, I was an academic teacher. I was helping people to get into university. I was preparing students for JAMB, CTME, and all of that. Why? Today, I'm into consulting. Tomorrow, I can be anything. I can decide to be anything. Life can move direction, my interest can shift into something else and all that. So if I now try to say, hey, I want to use my purpose in life to try to navigate, and instead of living purposefully, taking charge of every moment, taking advantage of every single opportunity that I'm finding, and taking advantage of it, and then doing something in the now, and then while I am waiting, or while I am preparing, or whatever it is for what's ahead of me, then it makes more sense than for me to say, hey, I'm basically searching for purpose, and then I'm trying to allow that purpose to determine. I can define what I want per time, and I can live by it. I can define what I want per that. So that's what I'm saying. Define what you want per time, and then live by that thing. That's it.
Oh yes, because my next question was even channeled to when planning your time, what are the necessary things that you should take cognizance of, or the necessary things to put into consideration when planning time? But I think they just answered that question. So you should define your life according to your time. Am I right? So
you should define yes.
You're defining, yes. So you're defining what you want to do, and that should be somehow aligned to your timing or how you want to manage your time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's right. But so I would want to ask, sometimes when people have defined their path and they have already aligned their definition of path with their time, then you see that sometimes we tend to, do I say, go off track, or we're not really meeting
True.
our targets. And so
True.
I want to use phone as an instance, and this thing happens to me almost every day.
Yeah.
So you know how you cannot really stay out of your phone completely. Maybe because you have some things that are online that you should, take care of, handle, and all sorts of things online that you should do. And then you're already writing, okay, today I'm going to do this, do that, blah blah blah. You have a to-do list, even with your sticky notes, writing all of that. And the moment you just take your phone, it's almost as if I don't understand. No, but they're very, very
Yeah.
serious matter.
True.
This is the
True.
time management I was speaking about, because today this thing happened to me. I know
True.
like what I want. I say, okay, Chine, today you do this, today you do that. But I know I've been struggling with network issues. So the moment I got stable network, it was like finally all the things that you have not done, in a while. Like since you've been struggling with
True.
network and everything, I
True.
think that you should fit yourself with some things that are
Finish it.
happening online. That was when I got to know about the death of Samuel Post once, and so much I wasn't even know all this was so. And staying there online, you just notice that before you know, time has slowly. Did I say slowly? It has gone far, and you're like,
That's gone very far.
so today is even coming to an end. So what did I achieve today? So how do you deal with that? Because that's a major challenge. Because even if I know, I will not say I've completely defined my path, but at least I know where I'm driving towards. You understand? So I try to plan my activities based on that. But then it's almost like linking unforeseen circumstances, because that's another question I was even about asking too. So how do we deal with this? Because you even know sometimes when people plan activities and they're like, okay, from 6 a.m. to this I'm doing this, from 7 a.m. to this I'm doing that. And then within the middle of the day, you notice that some things just pop up. And it tends to destabilize your activities for the day. How do you manage that? Is it that when planning? But this like a second question. But first, you answer my phone question first. Then second, you have to answer this one too. So, is it that when planning, you should put space for, when you're writing a budget, you put miscellaneous? Is it that when planning your time, you should put unforeseen circumstances? Because sometimes it won't take a whole of a day and it ruins everything that you're meant to do that day. And the day just ends and you're not productive, you don't meet your target and whatnot. So how do you manage those? Phone, social media, this present discrepancy, social media, and then the unforeseen circumstances.
Okay, here's what I believe. So, here's what I believe, really. The idea is that the first stage or the first step to actually stop doing a particular thing is to accept that you have a particular challenge, you have the challenge.
Self-awareness.
Okay? The first step is awareness, and then the next step is acceptance. Acceptance that you have that challenge. So now that you've accepted that the challenge, the next question I want to ask is why? Why do I keep doing this? Okay, why do I keep doing this? And one of the things about addiction is that addiction is defined as an intense, narrowing focus on a particular thing. So whether that thing is good or bad, as long as you have narrowed your focus intensely on that particular thing, you are addicted to it. It is said you are said to be addicted to that thing. So the question now is why is it? It's simple. You have an intense, narrowed focus on your phone and the attention that the phone brings to you, or the all of the activities that the phone brings to you, and that phone actually, creates a chemical reaction. It's a chemical reaction, and anything that has to do with chemical reaction, you have to begin to change the neural path. So you cannot just stop it. You can't just stop You can't just come up to them and say, hey, I want to stop using my phone. I want to stop using my phone for so and so, whatever it is. No, you have to understand that there was something happened. It took time for those neurons to form. There's a neurological pathway that has been formed by consistently exposing yourself to your phone. So it has been there, it's been there. So now, the thing is that you can't cut that neurological part. No, you can only channel it into becoming much more useful. So this is what I learned from my biology teacher when I was preparing for my wife. He said, if you know you're struggling with phones, don't try to stop it. Accept that you're struggling with your phone. So this is what you do. When you study for 30 minutes, always give yourself 10 to 15 minutes for always give yourself 10 to 15 minutes for I'm trying to remember, it's called a distraction, that's a willing distraction, distraction.
Like an intentional
always give yourself
distraction.
Yes, intentional distraction. So always give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to intentionally distract yourself. So you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to study for 30 minutes. And if I study for 30 or 45 minutes, my reward is that I'm going to intentionally distract myself for another 15 minutes with my phone. So you do that, and then you come back, and then you circulate, and then you circulate. Over time, that becomes your new routine. But if you try to stop it at once, and then you say, hey, I'm not going to use my phone for today, what happens is that the thing about addiction is that the more you try to kill it, the more the craving increases. And then the moment you go to that craving, you can go 4 hours, 5 hours stretch, and then you lose track of time. So you cannot necessarily cut it that way. You have to keep giving it some time. Until over time you could just, like a gradual thing. So over time you could just realize that you've gone 2 hours straight and then you're not touching your phone. And then secondly, make your activities less of phone activities. So most of the time, what I do is I communicate with people via emails. I do a couple of things. I try to automate my meetings using Google Calendly. So there are times you send me a message on WhatsApp. I will tell you I'm not available. If it's an emergency, schedule the meeting. It's automated, and then you schedule a meeting. So I know the meeting is actually holding on so and so day. So all of those things that will require me touching my phone, having to communicate and all of that back and forth, I take them off my phone. I try as much as I can to take those activities off my phone. So I wouldn't have any issue with detaching myself from my phone for a while. So I know messages can wait. If it's a call, I know probably my phone is mostly on vibration and all that. I can always pick that. So that's the idea. You don't call it off. You accept it that this is a challenge, and then you find a way around it by allowing yourself to be distracted once in a while, giving yourself that distraction once in a while that distraction, you're targeting it as a reward for focusing on doing the most useful work per time.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Because the one that even stood out for me was this. I had to phrase it body conditioning. So when you're maybe starting a new job role and they're saying you have to wake up by 5 a.m., and then it's something that your body system has not been used to. Like I'm just speaking in relative to the addiction thing we spoke about and with the phone. So you know that over time, if you tried day 1, day 2, day 3, maybe the next 2 weeks, if you're constantly doing that, your body sort of conditions to that kind of system.
Yes.
So that's the same thing that will work for the phone as well. So just conditioning your body to a particular system, and it's not something that will just happen drastically like that. So it's going to take time, because even till now, some person after the whole 5 o'clock thing, if you, how do I put it? your body system is still trying to get used to it, and if you don't
True.
continue, you just
True.
slack back and then continue
Yeah.
your own routine. So it's a
When I
gradual
was to go
process.
for my NYC, sorry to cut you, when I was to go for my NYC, of course, I didn't want to go at first. I'd already gotten like a fake medical report that I would just submit to them, and then the next day I would go back home and all of that. And then something told me, um, I told myself, I called myself and I was like, hey, you are becoming too comfortable to an extent. And then I was becoming too comfortable. I sleep, and then before you could see me, 3 a.m., I was already awake. I was working to 5 before I sleep, and then wake up by 7 to prepare for work and all that. But then I wasn't doing that anymore. I was just sleeping all through the night and all that. So something told me, hey, why don't you use these 3 weeks of camping to reactivate a new system, to get yourself back to that default that you've always been? Because of course, if you want to be
Setting.
yes, yeah, if you want to be in camp and all that, you have to wake up by 4 a.m. and stuff. So I decided to stay back. So while everybody else was complaining, I saw it as a training, in the sense that this was me training my system to get back to waking up by 3, 4, and then working or studying to 5 and all of that. And that was exactly what happened, because immediately I came back, I continued with that routine, and I've been following that routine, ever since. So it's the way it works like that.
Yes, it really, really works like magic. And it, like I said, it's not something that will just work drastically. You need to be consistent and be intentional about it. It's not something that you just want to do 1 day, 2 days, and then stop. You need to be intentional about it. So you have to make that decision. And that's another thing with body conditioning. There has to be a decision. So if you don't make that decision firstly, there will be no, wanting to be consistent or persistent with it to even getting an actual result. So you must make that decision. That's where you spoke about the self-awareness. So you must tell yourself that this phone is doing more harm than good.
Of
In
course,
this
yeah.
So it's making me not achieve my goals. It's not that it's a bad thing, but I think I'm making
You are
or using most
intensely
of my
focused
time.
on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I am inclined towards the phone. It's making me not make the most of my time. So you see this phone from today, I will just only operate you maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day. Obviously, trust me, it will not be easy. Definitely it will not be easy, because like you said, when you're trying to stop something, that's when the cravings even increase. So
and one other thing you can do is this. There are apps that can actually help you. There's an app on my phone. It's called Forest. So what Forest does is that the moment you turn on the app, you time it, and then probably like an hour. Okay, so for an hour, you see that the trees will be growing. So if you can stay consistent for an hour without leaving the app while doing your work, you would have seen that you've grown a forest. So it's more like you're growing a forest by focusing on your work.
Wow.
So yes, if you don't leave the app, your trees will keep
more
growing.
Like productivity.
Yes. So those apps can actually help you. And also another thing that gets me to focus really has been classical. Classical gets me to focus. I just get lost in the background sound, because sometimes what happens is that because you are so caught up in the noise that the phone is bringing, what happens is that you detest silence. You detest the absence of noise. You detest the absence of sound, because your phone gives you that when you're operating. So one of the best ways to do that is to allow that sound to play in the background by listening to classical. So that sound does not necessarily give you the distraction that operating and chatting gives to you, but it gives you the necessary distraction that helps you to focus on your work while you still have the sound in the background. So classical helps. Music without lyrics helps me a whole lot. Music without lyrics helps me a whole lot. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. So, three things to do, or four things rather, to help manage time: intentional distraction when planning your day-to-day activities, body conditioning, automating your activities, then trying to get some apps that can help, or maybe classical music, like you said. So you just have to know what works for you. Maybe some people classical music
Yes,
might not work for them, they might even sleep off.
yes,
So just
and
know what works for you.
the thing is, you need to have several options because
Mm,
you don't want to bore yourself with one routine. So there's a way you
yes,
listen
and
to
you don't
music
want to
all
be
the time.
like someone else. So maybe
Yes,
some
there's
some
a way
people
you,
after listening to this episode now, they might want to um want to be like you, and their body
yeah,
system might not be used to it. So you
true,
know,
true,
yes, maybe like that classical music now is not something that they are used to. They might be opposites. So instead of them being
true,
productive, they might sleep. Even if there is a place of training. So there's a way you can also train your body to get used to it. But that will take
yes,
like a longer time. So just discover
yes.
what works for you. Some people even prefer hip hop. Like, listening to jams, and they're like, wow, they're
For
really
me,
productive.
really, sounds like hip hop. So I listen to different genre of
Mm.
songs, but I'm
Oh
hardly
yeah.
influenced by any. I'm hardly influenced by any. So I jog almost every morning, sometimes at night. So in times like that, I can't listen to classical. I can't listen to slow songs. I have to listen to songs, hip hop songs, rap songs, songs that actually gets me energized. So when
Mm.
they get me energized, I could run kilometers. Like I do close to
Mm.
6 kilometers on a regular basis. And yes, and the funny thing is that every time I keep extending it, the more I keep updating my playlist with more amazing rap songs that are powerful, the beats, the sound, the flow, and everything. The more I realize that my muscles keep stretching and I keep doing more over time. I keep doing more over time. So, and sometimes it's not necessarily because of the music, it's just because of the brain can be very, very powerful in the sense that the stories we tell ourselves that this
Mm.
thing is doing for us can actually be what it is doing for us. It's not necessarily about what that thing, it's not necessarily about the thing. It's about the stories that we tell ourselves about the thing. So sometimes people
Mm.
tell themselves that if they take a walk, they get inspiration. Some people tell themselves that if they stay in the toilet, they get inspiration, ideas, and all of that. I have never really had to sit in the toilet to get inspiration. You know, you know, but sometimes the day I get one inspiration and then I begin to tell myself that I think maybe this thing really, really works. And then I convince myself that sitting in the toilet helps. You realize that your mind just begins to work in that way that when you're in the toilet, you begin to get
Mm.
inspiration. So it's not
Inspiration,
really
yeah.
about the toilet. It's not really about the toilet. Sometimes it's about what you convinced yourself that
Mm.
works for
It's
you.
just the mind. It's the mind.
True, true. So you can always trick your mind. You can always get your mind to do certain things if you convince it that that thing is going to help you get the most out of life.
Oh yeah, exactly. Everything still boils down to mindset. Though. Everything in life. In fact, I see life powered by mindset. I mean life.
True,
So I just see
true,
life powered by mindset.
very true,
Oh,
very true. So there was
so
a
what's
day, I think yesterday, I updated a post on Twitter, and I was like, I am so powerful. I am so powerful. I get shocked. I get shocked by myself, about how powerful I am. Now,
mm,
that statement to someone might sound like an egotistic statement. It might sound off. It might sound, like what does this guy really really do? But then
mm,
what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to tell myself a story. I may not necessarily be as powerful as I think I am, but then I tell myself that the more I keep convincing myself that I'm powerful, the more I want to do things that powerful people do. And eventually, I realized that these powerful guys are not necessarily better than me. They are not even the
mm.
best. They are not even the best graduating students in their class or their
True.
teams or whatever it is. But then they kept on telling themselves that this is my reality, and the world began to shape in that light based on what they were actually telling themselves. So yeah, I agree actually.
Very, very true. Very true. So I can really attest to the fact that everything you said is true. But now we have spoken about time management for like just 20, 25 minutes. So let's go to stress management. Now, when you have multiple conflicting tasks, how do you manage it without being stressed out and still delivering on them accordingly? So I'll tell you a very short story. I think last week, so I had a couple of tasks to do, and this one is not. They will give you one task, you're not even done with that one. They're not. Oh yeah, yes. So I feel like you should merge, be very diverse. You're like one of this, one of that. I'm like, people don't understand that this work is not funny. But over time, I was like, I was really stressed out. But I was now trying not to, delay and not meet deadline, because every day you have to say what you have done concerning those things that they have given to you. So you want to have what to say every day. So you need to work.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say, oh, nothing from my end, and sound like I don't understand like what it is. Why are you here?
True.
You understand? So you want to actually work every day so you have what to say. And over time, I noticed that I was getting stressed out. And so even if I was just still trying to, stretch myself just to deliver, how do we manage that? Because at some point, I was down. I went to the hospital and then the next day I didn't come to work. So I went to hospital on Thursday, Friday, I didn't come to work. So I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday to now, to sustain myself. And then I came back to work on Monday. Even if they were like, Neye, are you fine? I was still like, I'm fine, because in my mind, I'm still like, hey, if you like, come back next 2 weeks. You see that work, he's still waiting for you. So, when you have that mindset that nobody will do the work for you, you will like take 2 weeks break, you will come back and the work is waiting for you. You just still have to once you find a bit of relief, you just have to stand up and say, oh, my work is here, I have to start. Do you understand? So how do you manage multiple conflicting tasks? Because I had like conflicting tasks and I had to deliver on them. How do you manage it without being stressed out and still deliver on them?
So one of the best ways to get tasks done.
Especially if you have the ones that.
Okay, one of the best ways to actually get. Yeah. One of the best ways to get that done first is to understand your personality type. Okay, you need to know your personality type. So there's a website called 16personality.com. So 16 personalities gives you an extensive description of the kind of person that you are, and the kind of person that you are, your personality will determine where best you will function. So for someone like me, really, I'm more of a strategist. I'm more of a thinker, I'm a thought leader, I'm a philosopher. So I'm more of a strategist. So my job is to come, share ideas. People like me do best in consulting, teaching, training, consulting, knowledge disposition, strategy creation. But when it comes to executing strategy, you will hardly find me on the field, really. I'm not called out for the field, okay? There are people who are actually called out for the field based on their personality type and what they really do. They can be trained also. I can be trained also, but naturally, I'm not necessarily called out for that. So the idea is that when you know your personality, then you know the kind of work you should be doing. But then when you're in a situation whereby you are probably under management and then your leader is actually giving you certain tasks and you feel those tasks are becoming too enormous for you, the first thing you want to do is to communicate. You have to make them understand that this thing is too enormous for me. We have to find a way to go around it. Okay? If you think having to give feedback on a daily basis is not going to work for you, request to give your feedback on a weekly basis or on every 3 days basis. Okay? And give them a fact, give them a reason for it. So there's something called disagreement. There's something called I'm trying to remember the term it's called. When I remember it, I'll let you know. But then it has to do with
That's fine.
disagreeing with facts, not with emotions, but disagreeing with facts. In the sense that you have to make people see where you are actually coming from. So communicating is very, very key. And then because you know that this is putting you under pressure, and you won't, because you want to satisfy someone's ego, or then you want to get some level of reward, or you want to get some level of recognition. Now put yourself in a state of being uncomfortable just to make that up. No, that's not going to work. So for someone like me, I have people that I manage, and then I don't stress them. I don't really have to stress them for report or whatever it is. Mine is, we have a job, we have a task to do, we have a deadline. Let's make sure we don't exceed the deadline. So I don't care if you don't do the job for 3 days and you have to finish it the day before you submit. Don't exceed my deadline. Okay? I give you a realistic deadline. I give you a list of tasks. I don't care what you're doing. If you like, go and sleep. But do not exceed the deadline. So that's my own style of management, basically. So you need to ask, you need to communicate. Very, very important. You need to communicate. You need to know where you are. You need to know your personality, and then you need to communicate. If something is not working for you, communicate it. And then the final thing you want to do is to make sure that you increase your management skills. Most of the times, when people are caught up in multiple tasks and those tasks are breaking them down, it is because they have poor management skills. Sometimes it's because of their personality. Some people have a personality that a perfectionist personality, where they want things to be perfect, and then it ends up getting them doing it by themselves. If you find yourself in that category, you either do two things: hire an expert and leave them alone. So you want things to be perfect, hire someone who is very, very good at doing it, and then leave them alone. If you are in a situation whereby you cannot afford to pay that person, it means that you yourself are being underpaid, and it's only a matter of time before you break down. Because you cannot have a perfectionist mindset and be doing jobs that are almost perfect, and you cannot afford to hire a skilled person to do part of the job for you. In the second situation, if you cannot find someone who is highly skilled that can actually help you, that can take that weight off you, you have to look for someone who is not that skilled but are loyal and are ready to do the job. So in that case, you can put your mind into them. You can make them see things from your own end, how you want things to be done, and then you have to be patient enough to get them to do it. So in that case, that's for people who have perfectionist mindset. But then if you don't have a perfectionist mindset, you have to improve on your management skills. Okay? There are jobs that people give to me that I don't bother to do certain part of it. When it comes to design, when it comes to slides, templates, and all those things, I don't bother myself. I have people who can do those jobs. And because those jobs are high-paid jobs, these guys do the job. I do the ones that I have my area of strength in, and then everybody's fine. So I don't have to break down. You don't have to break down. The job is done. Everybody's fine. Okay? Everybody's fine. So don't get yourself. And then one of the challenges that people often have when they break down is that you are caught up in too many things because you don't know how to say no. So everything interests you. Every new project interests you. Every new idea. Someone calls you up and they say, we are doing this particular thing, or we want to start up something. Please come and join us. And then before you know it, you're there.
You just jump on it.
You're caught up in multiple meetings. Yes, of course. You're caught up in multiple meetings, multiple Zoom meetings, multiple activities, and all of that. When I wanted to go full into consulting, I had to leave the choir. I was in the choir. I had to leave the choir because I understood that it was not going to be possible for me to go full time into consulting without having the necessary certification, without having to sacrifice being in the choir, because being in the choir, I have to be in church Mondays, Tuesdays, almost every day of the week.
Exactly.
Of course. So I have to sacrifice that for being full-time into consulting, giving all my all into it. So I know how to say no to a lot of things. I know how to say no to a lot of things. When people reach out to me, I want you to be my co-founder, I want you to come on board this project. I tell them, I'm sorry, this is an amazing project. I could come in as a consultant. I can come in as an advisor, as a consultant, but I can't come in as the main part of the project. So find someone else. So learn to say no, know your personality type, increase your management skills, and then if you're a perfectionist, hire perfect hands that can help you balance your workload, or get someone who is committed that can natural network is disturbing. But that's it. I don't know if you heard everything I said.
Yeah, I did. You said know your personality type, learn how to say no. If you're a perfectionist, learn how to hire experts or people that are loyal, and then learn how to say no. So I think those are the 4 major things you made mention of.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for answering. I mean, that saying no part, that one is very, very key. It is key because a lot of people are like, jump on the opportunity, do them while you're young, gather. And people are just, gallivanting. Any opportunity that comes, someone grab, you understand? And people are worked up because, in fact, there's something funny that happened to me this year. So I'm trying to perfect my Excel and data analytics with Excel and Power BI. So I saw one opportunity. I paid for the course, that one is with data analysis with Excel, and then I was looking for another one, and I saw one with Power BI and Tableau or something. So I now told my friend, okay, that this is Power BI that I've been wanting to learn. So, let me also do that one. He said, to me, I don't have direction. How many things you want to learn at the same time? So when you see them, they're like seeming so interesting, like you want to learn everything at the same time. And then it's just showing that you don't have clarity. Because you now make people understand that when you're always doing everything, it shows that you don't have clarity, like you don't have direction. You now say, which one do you want? Can you just focus on one? Perfect that one first, then go on to the other one. But in your own head, you're like, wow, lifetime opportunity, you need to learn, be diverse with that opportunities, grab them, jump on any offer. And then there's this whole 20s mentality that we say, just try everything. You must have to try everything before you now decide. I'm like, hey, bro, are you sure it's going to lead the right way? So I like the fact that you spoke about learn how to say no. Because there are some people that right now, if I send them some opportunities, they're like, oh, thank you so much for sending this opportunity, but I don't think, but I'll pass. And when someone did that this year, I was like, wow. But these opportunities are people like maybe a normal person just say, wow, what a wonderful opportunity. The person wants to jump on it and be very sorry. But someone will be like, oh, man, thanks so much for the opportunity, but I think I'll pass. So that shows clarity. So that's something that we should grow into. Learning how to say no. So thank you for that. Very
true.
That's a very valid point. Thank you so much. And every other thing you said about the personality and then hiring, expert, if you think you can't handle, that's like delegation. So knowing how to delegate.
Yeah. So finally, I think I'll end with this, this advice. If you want to be able to operate at your peak level, peak capacity, you must be very cautious or very intentional about the things that you feed yourself, the things that comes into your body. It's more like an engine, like I said earlier, that is giving you its best capacity, its best operational capacity, and then you're buying mid-range engine oil or fake tools or you're repairing it with parts that are not okay, it's only a matter of time. The functionality of that engine is going to reduce and the engine is going to break down. So quite a lot of times you find people who eat junks, and those junks at best just gives you sugar, and those sugar is converted to glucose, which you use as energy, and then you just need that to keep running. But then the nutrients, the oil, all of the things that you actually need for your body parts to be replenished, the protein that helps you replenish your body tissues and all that, you're not giving it to your body. You're not eating food, you're not giving yourself all of those things that your body really needs to give you its best. It's over time, these things accumulate and then they get, they break you down. They break you down. And when it comes to stress, stress has to do with, being too tense on your nerves, the nerves, parts of your body, putting them under an intense pressure, and then when this intense pressure becomes so much, the bloodstream, those nerves begins to weaken, and then those things, that microbes that are in your body that are supposed to be defeated by your white blood cells, they begin to defeat your white blood cells. You begin to get weaker and weaker, and then sometimes people try to suppress these things with drugs, but the issue is not really drugs. You are trying to suppress it with drugs so that you can stay fit, you can stay energized and all that. But the issue is not drugs. It's your body giving you sign that, hey, you need to take good care of me. You need to stop eating junk. You need to start exercising. You need to start eating fruits. You need to start taking protein shakes. You need to start taking supplements and all those things. Because if you say that you want the best from me, then you must be committed to giving me the best.
Wow, thank you so much for for wrapping up. But even though we're not about to wrap up, I don't know why you're already wrapping up. I think I have like more. I know we are far behind time. Yeah, but I have two important questions I just want to ask you too. So, have you ever missed a deadline? And if yes, how did you go about it?
Okay, well, when you know you are going to miss a deadline, yes, I've missed a deadline before. I've missed several deadlines. And missing deadline doesn't mean you're a worse person. It just means that you are human and mistakes can happen. Okay, so let's say I got caught up in traffic and I'm not able to meet up this. I missed it. It basically just means I'm human. These things are factors that I can't control. I couldn't control the traffic to an extent. But then what do? You communicate. So if I know I'm going to miss a deadline, sometimes you don't know that you're going to miss that deadline at that particular day. You often know like 1 day before, 24 hours before. So what do? You communicate. There's a very high chance, I am really sorry, I know we agreed on this, but there's a very high chance that this may be extended to so and so time. Communicate the next time that you're going to have. Like owing debt, you owe someone money and then you're not going to pay on the set dates. Communicate before that time. Hi, I'm so sorry, we agreed on this particular date, but this is what came up. Explain what came up and then tell them, communicate the new date and tell them how sorry you are. The most important thing is communicating.
Wow, very well said. So now, what's your say on last minute work? I'll call it. A lot of people say that they work better under pressure. So will you call that mismanagement of time? Because they run under the umbrella of I work under pressure. So they always wait for the last minute when they have all the time in the world. Is that 11th hour that they're so pumped up and they're ready to deliver on the job? So will you call that mismanagement of time? Or what's your say about that?
So I'm a prompt person and I'm also a last minute person. Depends on the mood I'm in and how fast I want things done. So if I want things done really, really fast, I can be like, let's say probably there's no deadline or there's no mid-range, I can decide to just do it. Let it just go off like that. So I wouldn't have to wait till the last minute. But then there are times whereby, based on the fact that I'm a strategist and I'm more of a philosopher and I'm more of a teacher, sometimes I need to wait to get a lot of insights. So I might have a project and I've read the job description, and the job description is telling me this is what I need to do, I understand it fully well. But then, if the job is going to take me, if I know this job is going to take me probably 2 days, I could spend the remaining the first 5 days not doing anything actively on the job. I will basically just be doing other things. But while I'm doing other things, I am correlating everything in my head to the job. So by the time I decide to finally pick up my laptop or my pad to get the job, everything that I've done in the last 5 days, all the insights I've gathered and everything just comes and gives me an amazing job. But then if I try to do it on a daily basis, if I say I want to do it on a daily basis, I might have to start editing just to get the best. But then what I do sometimes that I can stay and then not have to do anything actively on it, do every other thing, get more insight, watch interviews and all that, and then everything I'm doing, I'm relating it to the insights that I'm going to get. Then I come spend the next 24 hours to focus on pouring down everything, and then I get an amazing job.
So you wouldn't call that mismanagement of time. You call it like strategic, let's say strategic planning, because it's not like you've been all this while. You've been working, maybe not necessarily on paper, but upstairs, like up in your head, thinking, bringing up strategies how you actually deliver once you're ready to do the job.
I just pour everything together.
Management of time.
So that's why, like I said, you also need to tie it to personality. Remember, I made mention of the fact that this is who I am, my personality type. So you have to understand your person, okay? So some people, when they tell you they do better when they're under pressure, they may not necessarily be under pressure actually. It's just their personality type, in the sense that every other thing they are doing, they are gathering insights, ideas, they are seeing things, all of those things. By the time they decide to put it down, it's great. Well, that's why someone was talking about me one day and he was like, he said he has watched me. He said the moment Jago picks up his phone and then the moment he's done typing, you have seen one amazing post on Facebook and everybody's shouting, wow. And the funny thing is that, that's the way I am, actually. I could write an amazing post in 15-20 minutes, But then that single post took me like 2 weeks.
Yes, it did not just
gather the insights.
Not just
a
7-hour miracle. Yes, something that has been building. You have been building up.
True. So that's just the thing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you already wrapped up, but let me ask my final question, and that is, what are some final words you want to say about stress management and time management, which I think you already said, but let me say it again. So what are some final words you want to say on stress management and time management to every young person? You have made us understand a lot of things here about time and stress management. I love the fact that you explain how we can create a balance in our schedule. Sometimes we have schedules and we don't create time for, relaxing or even eating or even, just pressing phone or just relaxing. So you made mention of intentional breaks or intentional distraction, so just to distract yourself. So you don't feel you're not the kind of person that will just work all 24 hours without having intermediate breaks, because that can really not be so helpful to you. Yeah, so you made us understand the importance of intentional distraction, body conditioning, learn how to say no, and so many other things. I can't even mention all of them right now, but there's been so much to take in this evening. So what are your final words you want to say to young people listening about stress management and time management? In 2 seconds.
My final word is, don't try to be successful, just grow. Don't try to be successful.
What on streets?
Just grow. If you focus on growth, you will grow. You will be under less pressure. You will give yourself time. You will forgive yourself when you make mistakes. And you will make money because money follows growth. But if you try to be successful, there's a very high chance that you will not forgive yourself for mistakes. You will rush things that you're supposed to be patient with. And there's always a tendency to corrupt your morality just because you want to be successful.
Wow. What a 2 seconds wonderful ending. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Jago, it has been really fun speaking to